Hi, my name is Katie. Welcome back to my channel, and this is
Nick.
This is my husband, Nick. So today we're gonna talk about our relationship story. So let's jump on in. All right, so do you want to start off explaining how we first met?
Yeah, I can explain how we first met. It was very typical, except for it wasn't.
No.
So the first time we met each other was at this thing called Campus Christmas, which
It's the best.
at our college was basically just all the dorms would decorate their halls and stuff like that into different themes to try to win, like a pizza party. It was pretty much...
We're basically fifth graders.
Yeah. But it was really fun, and people made some really creative ones. But that was actually the first time we met each other, was when we were dressed up for those different things.
Yeah.
And
so not exactly love at first sight when you hear what our costumes were.
No, I was dressed as Papa Elf, so I had this giant white beard, and she probably didn't actually know what I looked like at all.
No, I really didn't. I think I'd seen a picture of you before, like from a mutual friend.
Okay, yeah.
But I was dressed as the male train conductor from the Polar Express, mustache and all. So basically Tom Hanks as a train conductor.
Very attractive.
Yes.
Yeah, we were just friends. We had a mutual friend together that kind of connected us, and she told each of us, oh, you should meet so and so.
Not romantically. She wasn't trying to set us up.
No.
It was just like, oh, I think you guys would get along.
Yeah, and then interestingly enough, we ended up, because at that time I was an English major.
Yep.
And you were an English ed major.
I was an English ed major.
And we ended up taking some classes, like
three classes
the
together.
Next semester.
Which, I mean, sounds kind of crazy if you went to like a really big school. That would like never happen, but we went to a fairly small Christian school, so it was a little more likely. But yeah, I think we had Western Lit, grammar, and speech class together.
Yep.
So we got to know each other really well.
Yep. And so partially because we had so many classes together, we got to know each other just by spending some time studying, which is not something I'd done very much before that point. And I can't say that we got a lot of studying done when I was there.
No, but we did perfect our British accents.
We did.
We used to study in British accents.
Yes.
And if all of this sounds romantic to you, it was not romantic at all.
No.
So we didn't have any feelings. Like, I promise you, we had no romantic feelings for each other.
No, our friends will beg to differ.
Our friends will all be like, oh, I knew you guys liked each other. We're like, well, we didn't.
They just wanted to be right, and they were wrong.
Also, I want to mention that when we used to study together, sometimes my roommate would come along. And one time we were talking, and we're like, we just love Nick. And the best thing is that there's no connotation that we'll ever like or date him. Yeah. And now we're married.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that didn't.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair to say I wouldn't have just been studying in a British accent with the person that I was romantically attracted to.
Yeah, we've talked about this, how we became friends first, and we didn't just like, it's not like when we met each other, we were like, ooh, we might be romantically involved. Because like I had a crush on someone else at that point, and I felt like when I was with that person, I was like on, like trying to put your best foot forward, like not feeling totally comfortable being yourself. And when I was around you, I didn't feel that way. Like I was really weird around you.
Yeah, I was not trying to put my best
and you
foot
were weird
forward.
around me, but that's what made it so fun. I think that's kind of why we ended up falling in love with each other, because
we felt very comfortable.
We were really comfortable, and it was like I knew he already knew me. I wouldn't say like at my worst, but probably at my weirdest. Not my weirdest, but weirdest pre-marriage.
Fair.
So that's kind of a good foundation.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I wanted to mention was when we were freshmen in college, so we weren't dating. Like I said, we were just friends. My mom and dad came to campus one time. I think it was like a little Sibs weekend, so they brought my brother and sister, and my siblings were playing basketball in the gym or something, so my mom and I were walking around the track, and who did we run into but Nick? And Nick makes a very good impression on adults. I mean, we were adults, but like on parents and stuff.
And mature adults.
Sorry, Mom.
In the workforce.
In the workforce.
I did not say old.
because she's probably watching this.
Yes.
She told me she's a subscriber. So
Uh-huh.
when they visited, she was telling me, she's like, she met him and she just like thought he was so nice. And we were walking away. She was like, Katie, you should like him. And I was like, Mom, stop it. Like, I don't like him. We're just friends. She's like, well, you should like him. He's really nice. And I was like, and it's just funny because she totally called it.
She did.
We didn't even know.
No.
So if you need some love advice prediction, I guess ask my mom.
I guess so. Yeah, then after that, what kind of happened?
So then, like, the springtime, there were some things that went about, like, the friend who introduced us, Nick and her kind of, like, almost dated, and that didn't end up working out. Not because of me, just want to lay that out there. Because we were not romantically interested in each other, but it didn't work out on her end, and she had some issues going through the summer and was kind of like confiding in both of us because we were both close with her. And so over the summer, something really concerning happened. Like, she told something really concerning to both of us, and so we ended up calling each other. I was working at summer camp and you were working in the cornfields, right?
Yeah, it was incredible work. Just amazing.
Amazing. I really like that pun there.
Oh, nice. I didn't even think of that one.
Anyway,
Nice.
so, you know, I couldn't really talk on the phone much because we only had our phones on weekends, but we found a couple times to talk to each other. And when we did talk, we talked for a long time. And you had gone on a missions trip that summer, and so
I had.
you called and told me all about that, and obviously we talked about our friend, but it didn't like end with talking about our friend. Like, we just had a lot to connect on and keep in touch. And I remember like hanging up from one of those phone calls being like, huh, we just talked for a really long time on the phone. But I still wasn't like, oh, I have romantic feelings. I was just like, I just really appreciate him and his friendship and stuff. So that's kind of where I think, though, that things started to blossom, if you will.
Pretty much, yeah. It was really in that fall when we came back where I think things started to get more serious, and that's where both of us, who, like, first of all, who had never dated before.
Yeah, neither of us had ever dated before,
so waiting through
we've still
this,
only dated one person.
Yeah, like figuring it out wasn't like a very straightforward process for either of us.
No, and I was extremely awkward. And I didn't, like, you know, I obviously had crushes on people before, but it never worked out, so I was just like, it's probably not gonna work out again. I will talk about the night that I knew I liked you.
Okay.
That fateful night that I knew, and I was very upset that I liked you. So we called it a roommate date, and it was just Nick and his roommate and me and my roommate, and it wasn't like a date. Like, neither of us were like, oh, have this be a romantic thing. It was just to hang out. And we went to Chipotle, you know, super romantic. And when we were there, we just had such a good time on the way there. We were like laughing and joking and talking about stuff. And I feel like we stayed for a really long time at Chipotle.
We were out for a pretty long time. Yeah.
And while we were there, he was like, Nick has all these hidden talents that are like totally random. And one of them is that he could make like anything out of aluminum foil. Not anything, but like he made me... He made me a unicorn out of aluminum foil, and I thought that was pretty cool.
It was pretty dope.
I won't say that's what won me over, but
That would
no,
be a little sad. But.
just the whole night was just really fun. I remember going back to my dorm, and I was an RA, and we had like curfew duty. I had curfew duty that night, and I think we were like texting afterwards, and I was like, oh crap, I think I like him. This is horrible. Because I was like, I don't want anything, you know, I don't want something to happen where like I like him and then he's like, oh, I don't like you, and then it complicates our friendship. Yeah. So I was like, oh no, here we go. Yeah.
I don't remember the exact night, if it was that night or if it was around the same time, though, I think that I figured out. I remember when it first just kind of clicked. I just walked into my dorm room, and I was really close with my roommate. It was the same one from freshman year, and I just kind of like looked at him and was like, I think I like Katie, and and so we kind of talked about it, and then, you know, he said that thing like, well, you liked her all of last semester, and I was like, lies.
Everyone, I think that when you get in a relationship, everyone likes to claim that they predicted it. Yeah. But my mom's really the one who predicted it.
Yes. she did the best job of that. So,
But yeah, we did. I think we kind of realized that we both started liking each other around the same time, but we didn't tell each other for a little bit.
And so then that just kind of led to a month of just still hanging out. I think we started hanging out a lot more, even though we didn't have classes. Did we have any classes together?
I don't think so.
I don't think we had any classes together. And so I think that was kind of where that relationship started developing, because it wasn't just based on our classes. And so... And
we were keeping up with each other even though we didn't like see each other as much.
Yep. Yeah. We were still eating lunch and
and we
dinners
had a lot
together.
Of mutual friends. We hung out with kind of the same group. I had a couple different groups I hung out with, and yours was like one of the main people I hung out with. Mm-hmm. So with
that friend group, we ended up going to this event.
They have like ice cream, mini golf, corn mazes.
They had some kind of deal like. You get a bunch of people, wristband for like $5 and you got to do a whole bunch of things.
So a bunch of people from college, like a bunch of our college friends went that night. And it's really funny because the night that we went, my grandma called me before we left and she was like, so are there any boys on the horizon? Like she always wanted to know the hot goss about the boys. And I was like, Grandma, there's no boys anywhere on the horizon. I'm probably going to be single for a long time. And I was like, maybe I'll just be one of those women who just is single for a long time, and by the time they meet someone, they're just really wise and they've lived life and they, So I'm like telling her all of this literally the night that we ended up starting to kind of talk about dating. So.
Yeah. So basically what happened was after that, I don't remember why, but one of our friends came up with this idea of, why don't we just go hang out and look at the stars in the soccer field. I don't know, something like that.
And I brought my ukulele and I was like playing my ukulele. That's fun.
And so it was just kind of fun, and it had probably been about a month at that point since we had both realized that we liked each other separately. And so then I was like, I kind of feel like this is the time to tell her. And
it was very romantic out. Like it was like the stars were out. Did feel very, I was playing music. It was just like a few friends with us.
It was a very cool moment, and so I was like, okay, maybe we should take a walk. And so I lean over and I say, like, hey, do you want to take a walk with me? And I guess I didn't say it very loudly.
Okay,
either the first, second, or maybe even the third time.
To be fair, you do mumble sometimes.
I do mumble
sometimes.
That's true.
Well, yeah, he asked me, do you want to go and walk? And I was like, what? And then you said it again.
I said it again. I'm pretty sure I said it 3 times. And maybe 4 times before you understood.
Literally at one point, I thought that he was speaking Portuguese to me because he grew up in Brazil as a missionary kid. And so we'd always like jokingly, whenever we said something that wasn't like a beautiful phrase, we'd ask him to say it in Portuguese because we thought it sounded pretty. So like we'd be like, there are a lot of dead animals on the road, and we'd be like, say it in Portuguese, and he would say it, and we'd be like, oh wow, it sounds beautiful. And so I thought that he was just like saying something to me in Portuguese to be funny. So I was like, what is he saying? And then when I realized he asked me to go on a walk, I was like, there's no way that's what he's saying, because where are we going on a walk? Why are we going on a walk? Where are we walking?
Because we're in the middle of soccer.
We're in the middle of soccer field. So I was like, where? And he said, just around the field. Yeah. And my brain started going, oh no, what's happening? What's happening? You'd think that I would be like, oh, maybe he likes it. No, I was like, abort. He is about to gently break it to me that he doesn't like me. And he knows, he can tell I like him, and he needs to gently break it to me.
I was very observant, so that was definitely it. No. So I asked her to walk around, and I decided to, go with the approach of, you know what, I'm going to put this on her instead of tell her how I felt, which worked out really well. So I was like, so I have a question. Do you like me? And Katie loved that answer.
Oh my gosh. I was so frustrated. I'm like, really? Like, he's just bringing me out here and he's just making me say, yes, I like you, so that he can then say, well, I've noticed that and I need to just tell you I'm not interested. That was what was playing out in my head. And so when you said, do you like me? I was like, of course I like you. You're my friend. And then what did you say?
not what I was looking for, and so I was, like, well, do you like me?
And so now I'm like, wow, he's really dragging this out of me. Instead of just saying it, he's making me admit first that I like him before he, dismisses me.
Like we said, first dating relationship.
And so I said, well, maybe I do. I was like really annoyed.
And I was just like, okay.
I was just mad because I thought that he was like trying to catch me and like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good start.
Yeah, really great start.
But then you were like...
Then I was like, well, that's good because I like you too.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, so...
I've never gotten this far before.
So, yeah, that was just kind of... That was a really fun, although, like, kind of a random moment, but that's where we started talking about it. And so I think we... at that point, we said, well, let's not just start dating right now. Let's give it a week to think about it and
talk to our friends and and we were going home for fall break.
We were,
so we could talk to like our families about it and see what they thought. Because neither of us had dated before, and so I think at that point we both kind of knew if we were gonna date someone, it was gonna be like more serious. And I know not everyone agrees with that. Like some people think you should be more casual with that. Just the type of people we both are, we're just more like committed to a relationship. Yeah. And so we knew that we both like, if we waited this long to date, if we're gonna start dating, it's gonna be someone that is like a quality person, right? And that we can see ourselves with.
Expect ourselves marrying. So.
Yeah, not that meant we had to get married because we started dating them, but just like being willing to be like, okay, this is the type of person I could see myself married to. Basically, we took that week. I think Nick must have like messaged. I thought he called my parents, but he said he thinks he messaged them.
I do not remember calling them.
And he messaged my parents and just said, hey, I just want to let you know. I would like kind of let you know that, Katie and I are talking about dating. And so I didn't know that he had done that. And so I went home and I'm like building up telling my parents that I'm going to start dating potentially. And that it's Nick. And I remember like being too afraid to tell both of them at the same time. I don't know why. I just get very awkward about things, if you can't tell. And so when I waited till my dad went to bed, I was gonna tell both of them. I chickened out. So I waited till he went to bed, and then my mom was there and she was kind of like looking at me funny, like she knew something. And I was like, so Mom, I need to tell you something, and I think Nick Clark and I are going to date. And she was like, I know, he messaged your dad. And then she started like tearing up, and she was like, I'm just so happy for you. You deserve this so much. And I was like, those are really the tears of relief because you thought your daughter would be a spinster forever. But no, it was,
what confidence.
It was really sweet. And obviously she approved of Nick because she wanted me to like him the year before and I didn't. So she was probably like, check.
Got what I wanted.
So when we got back from break, we both talked to friends, both talked to family. All of our friends were like, yeah, like we totally approve. We think this is great. And so when we got back from break, Nick like picked me up and we went on a little date, and he had made me this little book, and it was so cute. It was like construction paper, and it was just, we're both really foam. Or I thought that, no, the first one was construction paper. I have it downstairs.
Okay.
And he had like little stock images cut out and like,
it wasn't my finest work, I'll give you that.
But it was really funny. It was like set up like a children's book of us dating, and I like quirky, weird things like that. So that was really fun. And so that was our first like date, and we started dating then. So.
Yeah. So then, we just kind of spent a little time talking about, okay, what is this going to look like? How do we want to proceed? And I remember saying one thing and then being very contradictory in my actions the next moment. So I think in the following day when we had officially started dating, we just talked. I was like, hey, this is like I was pretty straightforward with her. I was like, so like I do want to, I want to take this slow and, kind of see where we're at. But at the same time, I was also saying like, because I could see this ending in marriage, and
I think you worded it as,
I could see
myself waking up next to you every day. Yeah. And I was like, you don't know what I look like when I wake up, apparently.
Yeah, and so Yeah, and so we had a lot. We walked around the lake. That's like the thing people
Yeah.
do who are in love at our college is take long walks
It's like the
around the lake.
stereotypical thing to do, but
Yeah, and so we did that,
yeah.
and we talked, and then I was like,
And he was like, I want to take it
want to take it
slow. I
slow.
don't want to rush into
Yep,
anything.
and then I gave her a hug. I kissed her on the cheek, and then I said, "I love you."
I was like,
All 3 things at one time.
and I was like, but you know, in our friend group, it was kind of common that we'd be like, love you, like to each other. Like it wasn't like.
It wasn't quite as weird as it might be for some people. But
yeah, and so
it was
I think
definitely, yeah.
I think it wasn't. I don't know. I kind of feel like when you said I love you that time, it wasn't like the real like relationship I love you.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that was just like kind of slipped out, like, and then later was more of like. But I mean, it did not take long for either of us to say I love you.
No.
We also thought we'd wait longer to kiss than we did.
That lasted
like 2 or 3
week,
days. No,
maybe.
it was like 3 days after we started dating. So.
We hadn't dated before. Angsty.
Angsty. Hey there, Editing Katie here. Sorry for that really abrupt ending there, but I was editing the footage and I kind of realized that this video is way too long to put all in one video. So you're gonna get a bonus video, part 2, next week. So check back next week for part 2 of our relationship story. And if you made it this far, thank you for making it this far. As always, don't forget to like the video so more people can find it, and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new stuff. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully see you next week.